The year is 215 BC. The Second Punic War has entered its most dangerous phase for Rome. For 3 years, the Carthaginian commander Hannibal Barca has been tearing through Roman armies in Italy. At the Trebia River, Rome suffered a crushing defeat. At Lake Trasimene, Hannibal destroyed another Roman army in one of the most devastating ambushes of the ancient world. Then came Cannae. In 216 BC, Hannibal surrounded and annihilated one of the largest Roman armies ever assembled. Tens of thousands of Romans were killed. The disaster shook the Republic to its foundations. Several cities in southern Italy defected to Carthage. Rome's allies began to question whether the Republic could survive. But Rome refused to surrender. Instead of chasing Hannibal everywhere, Roman commanders gradually changed their strategy. They avoided giving him the massive pitched battle he wanted. They fortified cities. They protected their allies. They attacked Carthaginian positions whenever an opportunity appeared. And one Roman commander was beginning to demonstrate a very different style of warfare. His name was Marcus Claudius Marcellus. Marcellus was an experienced general and one of Rome's most aggressive commanders. While other Roman leaders favored caution, Marcellus believed Hannibal could still be challenged. In 215 BC, the two commanders faced one another near the Campanian city of Nola. Nola was strategically important. The city stood close to Hannibal's operational base in southern Italy, and controlling it would strengthen Carthage's position while threatening Rome's influence in Campania. Hannibal wanted Nola. Marcellus intended to keep it. The Roman army inside and around Nola prepared for battle. Hannibal deployed his forces outside the city. His army contained the combination that had already terrified Rome: African infantry, Spanish troops, Gallic warriors, and highly mobile cavalry. Hannibal's greatest strength was not simply the quality of his soldiers, it was his ability to combine different types of troops into a single battlefield system. Rome had learned this lesson the hard way, but Marcellus had studied Hannibal's methods. He knew that giving the Carthaginian commander complete freedom to maneuver could be fatal. So Marcellus prepared his own counterattack. The fighting began with skirmishes outside the city. Carthaginian troops advanced toward the Roman positions. Roman soldiers responded with missiles before closing into hand-to-hand combat. The battle became a brutal struggle along the walls and approaches to Nola. Hannibal attempted to force the Romans out of their defensive positions. Marcellus refused to panic. Instead, he used the city's defenses as part of his battlefield strategy. Roman troops could retreat behind the walls when necessary, then emerge again when the opportunity appeared. The Carthaginians found themselves fighting an enemy that would not allow its formations to be easily destroyed. Eventually, Marcellus ordered a stronger Roman assault. Roman infantry advanced from the city, while additional troops attacked from another direction. Hannibal's forces were forced to respond to pressure on multiple fronts. The fighting became extremely close. Roman soldiers pushed forward behind their shields. Carthaginian and allied troops fought back with swords and spears. Cavalry attempted to exploit weaknesses, but the confined battlefield limited its effectiveness. For perhaps the first time since Hannibal's invasion of Italy, a Roman commander was able to fight him without allowing the Carthaginian army to dictate the entire battle. The result was not another Cannae. There was no Roman army trapped and annihilated. There was no spectacular Carthaginian encirclement. Instead, Hannibal was unable to achieve his objective. Nola remained in Roman hands, and that mattered enormously. Ancient sources describe the battle as a Roman success, although the exact details and casualty figures are uncertain. There were later engagements at Nola as well, and the fighting around the city became part of a broader Roman effort to contain Hannibal. The importance of Nola was therefore not simply the number of men killed, it was psychological. Rome had finally demonstrated that Hannibal could be resisted. The Carthaginian commander was still incredibly dangerous. His army remained one of the most effective forces in the Mediterranean, but the aura of invincibility surrounding him had begun to weaken. Marcellus would continue fighting Hannibal in Italy, and later become one of the Republic's most important commanders. The Roman strategy also evolved. Instead of gambling everything on a single decisive confrontation, Rome increasingly relied on endurance. It raised new armies. It replaced losses. It maintained alliances. It attacked Carthaginian positions elsewhere. Most importantly, Rome refused to allow Hannibal's victories to decide the entire war. This became one of the defining characteristics of the Roman response to the Second Punic War. Hannibal could win battles, but Rome was fighting a war of survival, and Rome had enormous reserves of manpower and resources. That difference would eventually determine the outcome. The Battle of Nola therefore occupies an important place in the story of the Second Punic War. It was not as famous as Trebia, it was not as devastating as Cannae. It did not produce the dramatic destruction of an entire army, but it represented something perhaps even more important, a change in Roman confidence. The Romans had been beaten repeatedly. They had watched armies disappear. They had seen allies defect. They had witnessed Hannibal accomplish what had once seemed impossible. But at Nola, Rome stood its ground. The battle showed that Hannibal's victories were not inevitable. His army could be contained, his plans could be disrupted, and his strategic brilliance could be met by an opponent willing to learn. That was the beginning of a much longer struggle. Hannibal would remain in Italy for years. He would win more battles. Rome would suffer more defeats, but the Republic would survive. Eventually, Roman pressure would force Carthage onto the defensive. The war would move back toward North Africa, and in 202 BC at Zama, Hannibal would finally face a Roman army commanded by Publius Cornelius Scipio. This time, Hannibal would be defeated, but the road to Zama began with battles like Nola. Battles where Rome learned not to panic. Battles where Roman commanders discovered that survival itself could be a weapon. And battles where Hannibal's greatest advantage, his ability to shock Rome into making desperate decisions, began to lose its power. Nola was not the battle that defeated Hannibal. It was something more subtle. It was one of the moments when Rome began learning how to survive him. And once Rome learned how to survive Hannibal, the balance of the Second Punic War slowly began to change.